Hey Travis County, welcome back. We're talking farm to table for ducks, and we brought along the entire office today. So Drew is our duck expert, and he is going to cook us up some great duck today and share with some stories and his favorite recipes with you all today. Make sure you join us on our YouTube channel and our TikTok channel.
All right. Well, good day to you. So we are lucky enough to have some duck breasts with us today, and what we're going to be making with these are just some fajitas. So we're throwing them right here on the flat top, and we're just going to cook them hot and fast as whole breasts, and then we'll slice them up after they're cooked. And what we did with the seasoning here is just some simple salt, pepper, garlic, some cumin, and some cayenne pepper to give it a nice little kick to it. And this is going to turn out beautifully. So duck is, I think, an underutilized and underrated meat. You can do just about anything you want with it, and it's really delicious. And so right now we have some farm-raised duck, but all after hunting season, eat a bunch of wild duck, and they're going to be a little bit gamier than your farm-raised duck. But trust me, duck is a delicious meat and should be a protein source you consider next time you're looking at adding a new meal item to your kitchen.
All right, so Drew, we talked about farm, right? So they're a little different than wild. So duck is considered a white meat since it is a poultry type animal, but it really behaves like a red meat because their muscles work so much more. So, but there are a couple of differences that we'll find between like a slab of beef, yes, right? So our fats on our ducks are under the skin. That's what keeps them buoyant. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be marbled like a regular steak. So anything that we need to take in consideration when we're cooking or seasoning those things.
Yeah, so because it doesn't have that intermuscular fat, you can dry them out, just like chicken or something else that doesn't have that intermuscular fat. So you do want to be turning them regularly, be checking on them, use a thermometer to make sure you're hitting those temperatures that you need. And especially when you're going hot and fast, you want to make sure that you are hitting that desired temperature, which
165.
is 165.
So ducks can still be pink on the inside. So you usually hear the term, make sure you cook the pink out. You don't want to do that with ducks, right? So make sure that they hit that internal temperature and don't get overdone.
Yes. And it's easy to do it overdone, but
oh, those look good already.
Oh, they're looking delicious. And so we're just doing our first turn right here. We got a nice sear on top.
So ducks, like most poultry, they're good in the refrigerator for a day or two. Other than that, stick them in the freezer. They're good in the freezer for about 6 months until they start losing some freshness. So like Drew said, we're doing fajitas and nachos today. What else have you made?
So I've done a ton of different things. I've cooked them up, just straight duck breast, almost like a little steak, or you would a chicken breast. And then I've done, one of my favorite recipes actually is we did a duck parmesan. So we just pounded it out nice and flat and tender, just like you would with a chicken breast if you were going to fry that up for chicken parmesan. And then we did the same thing. We battered and fried, but you could also bake it. And it was fantastic. Honestly, one of my favorite ways to enjoy it.
So most of what you're going to find in the store is a grade A duck. Like Drew said, if you do it wild or farm, the hardest part is removing those pin feathers, the little things. So if you get in a bind, take your skin off.
Yeah, that does make it the easiest. So when you do get to those little feathers after you've plucked it, if you take a little torch and run over it, you can burn off a lot of those feathers if you want to keep that skin on. Because like we talked about, that fat's going to be layered underneath that skin, and that'll add a lot of really good moisture and flavor if you do cook it with that skin on. And but you do kind of want to poke that skin a little bit to allow some of that rendered fat out. Otherwise, you'll kind of end up with a little bit of a rubbery skin rather than that nice crispy skin that you'll want towards the end, or at least I enjoy.
All right, those are looking good. I'm going to switch out your pan because that's the #1 issue, is putting cooked food back on raw meat juices. Never
want to do that. So I'll be honest, my wild duck do not turn this nice golden white kind of color. They turn more of a dark red.
Because they've been using their wings a lot more than us.
Yes. And so they are a much richer red color to them. And so I love duck. I love my wild duck. And so I've had farm raised ducks a handful of times, usually at a restaurant. Yep.
They're not as gamey.
Yeah, it's going to be much gamier with a wild duck, just because of what they're feeding on and how much they're moving and flying and working. And so they can be a little bit tougher. They can be a lot gamier. And so that's generally what you're going to see, the differences between a farm raised duck and a wild duck. But it is so much fun when you are harvesting that animal, whether you raised it like Tamara did these, or whether you're out in the field and you bring that duck home and you clean it and then you prepare it, and you've got all those memories with it and that story that goes along with it, and it just really culminates into a wonderful thing when it's then feeding your family on the supper table.
All right, join us next time. We will have probably a whole new meat and a whole new dish for you.
Still recording.